Hello everybody, this is Muchaneta here from fashioner.com. I'm reporting from the Keyhouse at Munich Fabric Start, and I have Miss Pauline Van Dongen sitting next to me, which is pretty exciting. I think I said to you yesterday that for me, the fashion tech space, kind of my Stella McCartney and my Tom Ford are like Pauline Van Dongen and your Iris van Herpens. Those are the people that I get excited about. So it's quite lovely to have you here at the Keyhouse. So what is it exactly you're doing here today?
So thank you. I feel honored. So what I'm doing here at the Keyhouse, we're organizing a smart textiles pop-up lab together with Whole Center, which is a R&D center based in the Netherlands. And I work with them to develop wearable technologies based on printed electronics. So basically, I'm showing people here in a very accessible way how printed electronics are being created and how they can be embedded, integrated into textiles and garments.
So, this sounds quite exciting because a lot of people don't really know. They see the end product. So for you to actually show them how it's done, what's been the reception? Have people been excited about it? Have you kind of got a really positive reception from those attending?
Yeah, I generally see a lot of curious people. So they walk up to the stand and they're looking a little bit like frowning and like looking at it. And I'm often asking them the question, so do you understand what you're looking at? And then they're like, maybe, I don't know. So I always start explaining that, they're familiar with screen printing typically. And basically that's what we do. We do screen printing, but we use very special materials. We use conductive inks like silver inks, carbon inks to create circuitry. So yeah, people are very receptive to it. And I think it's nice to be here because generally these kind of technologies are presented at large electronic fairs. And that's not where you can reach the textile, design, fashion audience. So I think it's very important to be here and show it to them.
We are at the Keyhouse. For those who don't know, it's all about innovation. Munich Fabric Start is trying to introduce, what's going on in the fashion tech space to those in the textile industry. So for those who don't know who you are, can you explain a bit of background about who is Pauline Van Dongen and how you got into the fashion tech space and so forth, so they can kind of get a better understanding of your role that you play at the Keyhouse?
Yeah, so my background is in fashion design. I studied fashion design at the Art Academy in Arnhem, where I did both my BA and my MA. So I was trained quite traditionally. I did not work with any kind of electronics during my studies. That came later, though what I did learn was a very experimental approach towards fashion, towards textiles. So I was always looking for new materials and innovations and trying to do things differently or questioning existing processes and especially also questioning the existing system. So when I started out with setting up my own studio, I initially thought I was launching a fashion brand. But after a few collections, I realized that it wasn't so fitting with my approach and also with my vision and philosophy. I got frustrated, first of all, because of the speed of the system and the wastefulness of it. And then I turned to technology because I saw that technology could maybe create or offer new types of relationships that we have with our garments. So that's what I've been researching since 2010, basically. And I've completely taken a different approach also in terms of my business. I'm now doing a lot of projects with all kinds of companies, can be textile companies, garment manufacturers, fashion brands, technology companies. That's also the reason why I work with Whole Center. That has allowed me to experiment a lot and to delve into this space and to collaborate with engineers or physicists or, you name it.
That was going to be my next question, actually, collaboration. We all know collaboration is key in order to merge fashion and technology. What are your thoughts? And, has there been a favorite collaboration where you're like, do you know what, this collaboration actually moved the entire adoption process kind of closer?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I've had many different projects where I felt like, we're really touching upon something here. What I really enjoyed, to name just one, because there's many examples, is a collaboration that I did almost 2 years ago with a Italian denim manufacturer, Ital Denim, where we just clicked on a vision visionary basis. We both had same ideas. We didn't even know what we were going to do in terms of a project, but we just had a very similar mindset, similar ambitions. And that's how we started out. And we started formulating a project proposal. We even set up a joint venture for when things would take off. And I was granted access to the factory, and we would work together on creating a new smart textile. So we actually ended up weaving conductive yarns, doing a lot of experiments, creating a touch-sensitive textile. And for me, that was really interesting because I really got to work hands-on with the material in a very early stage of the process. And that's why I think being at a fair like Munich Fabric Start, being at the Keyhouse where all the innovations are, is really valuable because you're really early in the value chain. So you can really then bring this material, bring it to designers and have them work with it. And I think that's where a really good design will come from. Technology is not something that you want to add or stick on at the end. That's what you really want to avoid. So.
And bringing it down to manufacturing. I mean, there's amazing ideas that have been taking place in the last 5 to 10 years within the fashion tech space, but manufacturing is a big problem. I mean, we're not short on ideas, but what are your thoughts in terms of manufacturing products? I mean, do you think that we need to kind of educate manufacturers? Do you see a future where we'll be able to kind of mass produce your products, for example? Is this a possibility, or is this something that you want to avoid?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, it's been one of my key focus areas over the past 6 years. Initially, when I started out creating the first wearables, I was integrating electrical wire and soldering things, and I already, immediately found out like this is not the way to go. Even you can create amazing things, but they'll always be prototypes. So that's also why at some point I turned to printed electronics, because I realized that first of all, the material itself is very suitable for textiles. It's very stretchy, it's formable, it's breathable. But I think what's more important even is that since it's printed and it's comes in a form of a trim, like a film, you can easily laminate it onto a garment. And these are processes that we're all familiar with in the industry. So that really helped facilitate getting it to mass manufacturing. Whereas if you have a lot of different materials that need to be combined, that need to be interconnected, that you need special tools for, or even specially skilled people that need to be trained for it, then of course the barrier gets higher and higher. So yeah, I think there's definitely opportunities to get it mass produced. Yeah.
And last of all, what are your thoughts on the Keyhouse? I mean, I would love to hear it because I feel like a lot of people are really excited about a place that they can come to that has got this collection of innovation. And for someone like yourself, who I like to refer to as an OG of fashion tech, I would love to hear your thoughts because you've been doing this for such a long time, trying to work with people, trying to get people on board. I bet when you were working, nobody understood it even, and to try to explain it to them. So now we're at a place where most people can understand it a little bit. So, I mean, do you think a Keyhouse is somewhere that people looking for innovation should come?
Definitely. I think I really like the kind of progressive vision and approach that's going through the whole here. To be honest, if you would have asked me a couple of years back, I would have told you that I was kind of like bored with textile fairs. I would much rather go to a fair like Tech Textile or to ID Tech X where I could find lots of new cool things. But now that, there's something like the Keyhouse, this is actually a place where you find those kind of things too, and where you can meet like-minded people and where you can really see what's ahead of us instead of the things that we all know so well. So I think this is an amazing place for people to come together and to create the future together.
I love seeing their faces when they see something really technical and they've never seen it and they kind of go, oh, and that's the face that I like to see. You get a lot of those faces here at the Keyhouse, the surprise look that I will come back next season definitely to see the innovation here. Thank you so much, Pauline. Keep up the good work. I look forward to catching up with you again next season.